Scene opens with a dark screen, the sound of a school bell ringing faintly in the distance. Slowly, the image fades into a classroom setting, children laughing, eating lunch, except for one girl sitting alone, staring at her empty desk. What if I told you that an 8-year-old girl was going home hungry every single day, not because she forgot her lunch, not because she didn't have food, but because her teacher was throwing it away, and when her parents finally discovered the truth, they were left speechless. Nia was like any other cheerful, energetic 8-year-old. She loved school, adored her friends, and always looked forward to lunchtime, until one day, she started coming home starving. At first, her parents, Monique and Eric, didn't think much of it. Maybe she's just playing too much at recess, they guessed. But soon it became clear something was wrong. Monique packed Nia a full lunch every morning, yet by the time she returned home, she was famished, like she hadn't eaten a single bite all day. Concerned, her parents started adding extra treats, cookies, fruit snacks, anything to make sure she had something she liked. But nothing changed. Every evening, she would rush through the door, desperate for food. Nia's behavior began to change. She became quieter, more withdrawn. Her once bright, bubbly personality seemed dulled by something unseen. Whenever her parents asked about school, she brushed them off. "I guess I just forgot to eat," she would say, or "I wasn't hungry at lunch." But that didn't make sense. An 8-year-old forgetting to eat every single day, something wasn't right. One afternoon, Monique got a call from another parent. Her child had mentioned something strange. Nia had told her friends she didn't have lunch at home. Monique's heart nearly stayed. Desperate for answers, Eric scheduled a meeting with the school principal. They brought Nia along, hoping she would open up in a safe space. But the moment they mentioned lunchtime, Nia clammed up, her small body tensed, eyes darting toward the door as if she wanted to escape. The principal, Mr. Cunningham, tried reassuring her, but every attempt was met with silence and tears. Then, a former teacher, Miss Bailey, hesitated before speaking up. "I don't want to start anything, but..." Nia's new teacher, Miss Aldridge, has a habit of making comments about kids' lunches, especially certain kinds of lunches. Monique's stomach twisted. Certain kinds. Miss Bailey hesitated before adding, "She has made remarks about foods that are foreign or unusual." Monique's hands clenched into fists. Nia's lunches weren't strange. She packed normal meals, sandwiches, fruit, rice, beans. Why would a teacher have an issue with that? The principal promised to look into it, but without proof, his hands were tied. That wasn't true. She made sure Nia had a full meal every day, so why was she saying this? When they gently confronted Nia, her reaction was shocking. She froze, her little hands trembling, tears forming in her eyes. Then, without a word, she ran to her room and slammed the door. Monique and Eric exchanged worried glances. Something terrible was happening at school, and they had to find out what. The next morning, Monique decided to take matters into her own hands. She arrived at the school just before lunchtime and positioned herself outside the classroom, where she had a partial view through the small window on the door. The lunch bell rang. Students eagerly pulled out their lunch boxes. Nia hesitated before slowly unzipping her bag, revealing a container of homemade chicken and vegetables. And that's when Monique saw it. Miss Aldridge's expression twisted in disgust. She walked over, snatched the container off Nia's desk, and marched straight to the trash can. Monique's breath caught in her throat. With a loud clang, the plastic container hit the inside of the bin. The classroom fell silent. Nia's face crumpled. Her little shoulders hunched as she stared at the floor, too afraid to move, too embarrassed to protest. Monique's hands shook with rage. But instead of bursting in, she did something smarter. She pulled out her phone and hit record. That night, Monique showed the video to Eric. His jaw tightened as he watched their daughter's food being tossed away like garbage. They stormed back to the school the next day, video in hand. Mr. Cunningham was horrified as he watched. Miss Aldridge was called into the office. At first, she denied everything, but when the video played, her face paled. "I was only trying to keep the classroom clean. Nia's food had a strong smell. I was looking out for the other students." Excuse after excuse poured out of her mouth, but the truth was undeniable. As the school district investigated, an even darker truth surfaced. Miss Aldridge had a history of targeting students' lunches. Notes sent home about inappropriate food, complaints about foreign meals, but because no one had ever gathered proof, nothing had been done until now. The district terminated her contract, but the damage had been done. Nia had spent weeks feeling ashamed, humiliated in front of her classmates. It took time. But with her parents' love and a supportive new teacher, she began to heal, and something incredible happened. Her classmates rallied around her. Miss Yang, her new teacher, turned lunchtime into a celebration of cultures, encouraging students to share the stories behind their meals. One day, Nia walked into class carrying her lunch with pride. It was her mom's famous jambalaya, And this time, nobody threw it away. Instead, her classmates leaned in, curious and excited to hear about it. Nia beamed. But the real question is, how many other children have gone through the same thing? How many kids suffer in silence, too afraid to speak up? Narrator, if Nia's parents hadn't fought for her, would anyone have? Drop a comment below if this story shocked